Hello, I am that dude with the beard, and today I will be commentating over Frazzleberry's quote-unquote review of Dante's Inferno. Now before we begin, let me just say that I have played Dante's Inferno and really enjoyed it. Now, I want you all to remember that I played the game, and I want you guys to just keep it in mind and see if this guy has played the game. Why? Simple. There are tons of hints that he has not played the game at all. With that being said, I hope you enjoy it, and let's get started. Yay.
Alright, hey guys, what's up? This is my Dante's Inferno thoughts, as you can see by the title.
Technically, the video says Dante's Inferno review, but then again, a lot of people make that kind of mistake.
So I rented this game about a week ago, finally got to it. And it was okay. I mean, it was let's just say it was basic, okay? It wasn't anything like crazy or anything, but it was basic. It was a basic beat 'em up.
Technically, the game's more of an action platforming game, but then again, a lot of people can get this wrong too, so I don't hold that against you at all.
Nothing new, nothing innovative, nothing really wrong with the game, I guess. But it's made by the people who actually made Dead Space, which I just finished the other day, so it's kind of ironic that I just finished one of their games and then I have to play another one like right after. But
actually, what you're saying isn't considered ironic. Irony would be like if a situation is opposite of another situation, or the verbal irony of something. In most cases, this is not ironic, it's more of a coincidence. And by that term, a more ironic thing would have been if you had played God of War and then played this. That would have been ironic.
Yeah, let's get to it. My likes and dislikes. Alright, for likes, I really thought the relic system was pretty cool. What the relic system is as you like travel throughout the game, you have different collectibles you collect. One of those are relics. Basically, relics are like, I guess you could compare them to perks from Call of Duty, or they're like these upgrades that you can equip to your character, and as you use them, they level up.
Okay, can I ask you why you chose this really upbeat music for this video? It doesn't fit the tone of the game at all, and I think if you're going to talk about a game which is very kind of depressing and actiony, it probably would have been a bit funny if you used God of War music, or at least the own, game's music. But then again, you don't like the music for the game.
And some of them get pretty crazy, like, one of them, it makes your melee damage go up by, level 1 is like 20%, level 2 is like 40%, level 3 is 60%. And at level 3 it caps, but it's pretty cool that they had that in there. I noticed a lot of them actually affected stuff, like, I was using the combo one, which every level up increases it by 2 seconds. So normally, if you weren't attacking anything, your combo meter would just start dropping if you didn't attack anything for a few seconds. What that does is it increases the time, so it doesn't take 2 seconds for your combo meter to run out. It takes 4 or 5 seconds. That comes in pretty handy when you're fighting a lot of these achievements and stuff later on. But I thought that was probably the coolest thing this game had to offer.
Okay, I know I say this a lot in almost every one of my videos, but scripting. People, learn it. When you say ums or make lip-smacking sounds, it does not help you. It basically just makes you sound like you haven't prepared anything, like you're unintelligent, or my personal favorite, it makes it seem like you haven't played the game or done anything with the material that you were given. You need to do scripting.
Yeah, I guess that's really all I have to say about that. Oh shit. Sorry about that. Yeah, my cat just started throwing up, so I had to move him. But, so the relic system is probably the best thing.
Okay, first thing, you don't leave all that loud, muffled sound in. It's perpetual ear rape, and 2, you didn't need to tell us that your cat threw up. And don't make it sound like a funny thing, that's just disgusting. It would have just been better if you edited that part out. But then again, you probably wouldn't have anyway. And even if you did edit the video, which we can obviously tell you can, you should have. You should put more effort into your video making.
I don't have anything like many likes with this game, so I guess I'll get to my dislikes. Alright, so when this game is like a beat 'em up, but it also has platforming and puzzles and stuff. I think the platforming is really weak in this game. There's a lot of ropes and ledges and stuff you have to climb across and jump between. Where is it? Near the end of the game, there's this specific area where you have to drop from rope to rope. And there's parts where you have to swing from a rope to grab onto another rope. And honestly, it's really glitchy. You can there's no way of telling when you're within jumping range of grabbing onto it. So I had to die a couple times just trying to grab onto a rope. And since the checkpoint is set before all the collectibles, right before that rope, you have to climb down a rope, go back over to collectibles, which takes about 2 minutes. Then you have to climb back across the rope. Then
okay, a good point. You did actually say that the platforming was bad, and I will halfway agree with you. I did have some problems, which is fine, and yes, a lot of the times I actually had to get the collectibles before I made it to that specific area. But there's just one problem. Why aren't you showing us video footage? We could understand if you had video footage, but instead, it's not what you're talking about. You're showing us probably about midway through the game, which is not a very good idea when you have a negative. You should always show and tell, not just tell.
Swing over to the rope that you might miss. So it's kind of fucked up the way they do that. There's just no way of telling if you're within range. Maybe they could have made it so you grabbed on closer or something. But as it was, I don't know. I got many deaths because of that. Yeah, I guess that's my biggest dislike. Yeah. Alright, so I guess I'll talk about the story now. The story, it's kind of hit or miss. It's based on I guess some poem or something, or some story about Dante's Inferno, or...
Actually, Dante's Inferno is based upon the Divine Comedy written by Dante Alighieri, an epic poem that was written for almost 20 years, and it has become one of the most, world-renowned pieces of literary, achievements. So basically, if you have an understanding of the source material, you can kind of see that the game's overall story structure is not very similar, but nonetheless, it is sort of similar. I think it would have been a good idea to, look up the source material, or at least some research about the game, thus you would have been prepared for this. Other than that, though, yeah, research is good for you.
I don't really know much about the story. It's just about this guy who has to go to hell and basically bring his wife back, but it's kind of interesting. He gets killed by the or he's dying, right? He's on the verge of death in the beginning of the game, and what happens is he has to kill Death because Death's gonna try to take him away. So kills Death. He takes Death's scythe, which it's badass. That's about the most badass thing in this game, though. Once that happens, he comes home, finds his wife is dead, and basically hell starts opening up on his fucking front yard. So starts going down through hell and trying to find his wife and bring her back, but she's already dead. So I don't know. There's so many weird things in this game. You found her dead body no less than a minute ago, yet you're gonna go down to hell and try to bring her back out of there.
So by your own definition, God of War Chains of Olympus would be considered a weird game. In reality, while it is on a handheld system, it's still pretty good. Or how about Shadow of Colossus, where a man actively tries to resurrect his dead wife, girlfriend, princess? I don't know. Anyway, he's supposed to resurrect her with the help of some sort of evil demon god, ancient deity. You see where I'm going with this. There's a lot of games that have a similar plot line, and you consider this one to be the weirdest? I don't know. I think the latter was weird.
Life and bring her back, but she's already dead, so I don't know. There's so many weird things in this game. Like, you found her dead body no less than a minute ago, yet you're gonna go down to hell and try to bring her back out of there? Like, that shouldn't work. She's a soul now. And for the entire game, she is a soul because she's floating around as a, like, misty, like, spirit being. So, I don't know. The story isn't really that cool. I will say that the fucking devil in this game is hilarious. Lucifer, he's just this black guy with smoke surrounding him, and he's butt-ass naked. And he's just, like, floating around, and he, like, every few cutscenes, he'll just pop back up, and he'll brag that he has your girlfriend and you don't, and he'll fly away with her and stuff. It's pretty fun.
I really want to question whether you played the game or not, because if you have played the game, or even if you haven't, there might be some level of intelligence in your brain that makes you know that, I don't know, Lucifer is the devil, you freaking moron. Technically, he has powers that would allow him to, have a physical form beyond where he is. It seems to me that you just watched the cutscenes on YouTube and decided to say it was funny, and you just took it out of context at the time. That actually does sound like where this review is going.
I should also note that this game has hundreds and hundreds of boobies. and it's not just like DOA boobies, it's like nipples, like full-on nipple boobies. And you'll see them a lot throughout the game. They do some nasty things though, man. There's a boss fight where you're fighting this, like, it's Cleopatra. She's like some demon, and she's climbing up a tower in the background. And what happens is enemies start spawning in her nipples and start running out of her nipples, and like she starts like pussing them out. Like this white pus is like shooting out of her nipples, and then she starts throwing the enemies onto the battlefield. And it's a really disgusting way to fight enemies, but it's pretty funny.
Why is it funny that an M-rated game has boobies? I don't see the connection between funny, and as for the giant breast having, unbaptized babies coming out, I see that more as divine justice, or in a way comedy, since they're unbaptized, since they're being born again through a woman. But the way you say it kind of makes me think that you have to be young. It's more than less makes me think that you gotta be maybe 14, if not maybe 17, maybe in between there. Let me check. It doesn't say your age. YouTube. The people who can't check for basic ages.
Story, it's really basic. I didn't really care about it. I honestly muted it for a while. I don't care about religion, so it just didn't appeal to me. So story wasn't really a strong point for me. Gameplay, yeah, I'd say probably this is the strongest part of the game. Like I said, it's a really basic game. It doesn't really bring anything new, and it doesn't really do anything bad, but it just didn't appeal to me. It's basically you have one weapon, slash. You have your light, your heavy attack, you have your ranged attack, which honestly, the ranged attack is overpowered. You could use that entire attack for the entire game and kill everything. And what's worse is you can even upgrade the ranged attack, and it, instead of shooting out like 1 or 3 shots, it shoots out like 5 shots, which basically kill everything.
Here's a question. Why don't you go any deeper into the, fighting mechanics aside from the slash, the light and heavy attacks and the ranged attacks? I mean, it's not like you could elaborate and show us why it's, basic. But instead, you just complain about the range attack, which is perfectly fine since I agree it is overpowered. But the problem is, we're almost 3/4 of the way finished, and you already have said one problem that is actually legitimate. Do you see why I think this is a bad review?
So it's really a beat 'em up, and there's some puzzles throughout the game. Usually you're like turning a lever around and stuff. Moving blocks here to there, jumping on things, climbing over things. Puzzles were pretty weak too. As for like mini games and stuff, there's a couple parts where you control giants and you have to climb up walls or break down things and stuff like that. They didn't really slow the game down, but they didn't really do much to the game. They were just kind of there.
The Beast is not a minigame. That's not considered a minigame. It's just an added gameplay element. The QuickTime events are not a minigame element. It's to... I can't believe I'm saying this again, but it's there to bring more gameplay. And finally, the pushing the boxes is not a minigame. It is a puzzle. You have a very weak definition of what a minigame is. Oh, and by the way, once again, it is not a beat-em-up. It is an action platformer. Get it right.
I wish they found a better way to do that, but whatever. Oh, when you beat the game, you do unlock a survival arena mode, which is really easy. I beat it in like 10 minutes, and that was like 50 waves of enemies. So that was pretty weird. Overall, though, I think the platforming the most though fucked over the gameplay. Just those rope climbing segments and jumping from rope to rope, it fucks with you. The most complex the fighting system actually gets though is some of the enemies will have flames over them, and you'll have to like shoot them with your cross to purify them, which is your ranged attack. So.
Okay, I'll give you that the combat is not very deep. Even with a shield, you can still score hits on an enemy. But let me backtrack a little. You went back to the platforming and rope swinging. This is a good reason to script. You should not have to repeat yourself numerous times. Again, it's not that big of a deal if you, I don't know, learn to fucking script.
You use your range attack to clear off the fire, and then you're able to finally attack them. Some enemies, it's about as deep as it gets. Other enemies, you just have to like kick the shit out of them until you can either grab them, but you don't have to do that. It gives you more experience points. They have this thing where you either purify or punish the enemies, and it gives you more experience based on like what your relics you're using. So like if you had a perk that made it so you get more holy experience, you'd get more holy experience by saving them or whatever, purifying them. So I should have mentioned that too. You have a light and dark level up meter thing, and depending on what you do, it levels up either or. It doesn't really get any deeper than that. It just unlocks more skill trees, and you get new combos and stuff.
And here's another red flag for me. You brought up the more interesting customization skills that is holy and unholy. If you had scripted it, you would have got to it earlier. But another red flag that is kind of more abrupt to me is that you didn't bring it up early since you didn't play the game. You're not proving to me you played the game by bringing something this important to your customization this late in the review. Do you get what I'm saying?
Gameplay is, yeah, like I said, it's probably the strongest part out of an average game, so there's that. Music honestly can suck my balls. There's just no memorable songs like always. We got a subpar fucking like OST. Voice acting is Old English, which I cannot stand. So that sucks my balls equally. And yeah, the sound effects are generic. Just chwing 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 chwing. Very basic. Audio is definitely the worst part.
I call bullshit. It is obvious now that you have not played the game. To me, it seems like it just went on YouTube, looked up gameplay footage, cutscenes and various other things, and then wrote things that you did not like about it. It seems very, very obvious because there is no footage of the game that you've played. You've mirrored the footage that most likely anyone could have gotten. You see what I'm trying to say here, people? This is very, very basic movie editing skills at its best. Even now, as I actually did my video, I lowered the audio on the his original because at times it got a little wonky. But him, it seems like he just didn't give two shits about his video. And I think that's the worst of it all. It's okay to not have a very good review, but to not give two shits about the audience and, you know, protecting them from ear rape, as well as not giving any legitimate reasons and proof that you play the game, it seems kind of, well, lazy. Yeah, I'm sticking to that one.
Average game that I don't see why you'd want to buy, but if you're into an action game mood and stuff, buy it for like $10 or $15, or rent it, because seriously, if you buy this game, if you like this game, I just don't know what to think about you, because you clearly like weird games, or maybe you like the boobs. There's a lot of boobs and a lot of jiggling boobs in this game.
And that's actually where the video ends. No, I'm not kidding. That's really where it ends. It just cuts off like that. Before I go on to my final words, let me just say this. Nice job insulting your audience, buddy. You just lost a subscriber. So, what can I say that hasn't been said? Okay, no one else has really talked about this. There actually is one guy who left several comments saying that the guy understood absolutely nothing. He doesn't know what he's talking about. But I'm going to have to say my final words on this guy. So, what do I think of this quote-unquote review? Well, if you haven't gotten it yet, this review is bad. Really bad. All he did was flip-flop. He went from one point to another. He went to an old point to a new one, and then he talked about things that really didn't need to be talked about. It just felt like the guy put no effort. And that's the thing. I consider this video to be lazily done. It's like he assumed that no one was going to watch it, which no one really did. Only 51 people watched it with one dislike and only 2 comments on it. I think if anything can be learned from this one is put effort to your reviews. It's never a good idea to just make a video that you think is going to be fun and then just skimp on it. So, next time I'll be looking at another YouTuber. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, because I sure didn't. Well, not the video I'm making, I mean the video I was watching, because, yeah, you understand now. See ya.